Hi guys, welcome back. I've come to you today with a little tutorial, not a tutorial, a little show and tell really, about these folio journal things that I've been making. I've been asked about how they come together and, what it's all about really. So I thought I'd come and show you this one, because this is like one of the first ones I did. Basically, this is just a pile of envelopes stacked together in what we call like a flippy fold out thing. You get yourself a bit of a base of card or something to that effect. This is an old file, if you can see the top bit there. If you use that as your base, because it's quite, good sturdy file, then start attaching your little envelope things in this fashion. I'll show you how I did it. Then add your little bits and bobs. Now, the reason behind all this malarkey is like using up your old stuff really. Using up your old envelopes or your old newspapers, old books, all that sort of thing. I mean, this has got digital prints on, as you can see, and this is what these are. You download these off Etsy. There's loads on there. Print them all off. They're about £1 because you're buying the copyright, see, of the designers. So you download them. Obviously you've got to print them off, get them onto your PC and print them off. But not everyone's got printers and inks and access to that sort of thing. So what we'll do is we'll look at what we can do if we haven't got that sort of stuff. Start off, really, you need the basics, which is your envelopes and your card. I mean, this is just a bunch of old envelopes. These are old Christmas card envelopes, obviously used ones. Slot them open if you can. Put a bit of it, use a knife to slot them, and then you can use that. They like to use envelopes because then you've got your little slots for your tags and stuff. Slot them together. These are old ones, old envelopes. I think they're past using really. I think they got a bit damp or something. They're all a bit marked. Instead of me throwing them away, I'll use these. So I'm recycling them in effect. Same as this sort of thing. I mean, this is what it's all about. I mean, everyone's got their own take on junk journaling. But the main thing is you use stuff that you would normally recycle in your bins. You can use this for your tags, old card from your, food packaging. Same here. They're good stiff bits of card. If you need bigger card, this is when your cereal boxes come in handy. And I've cut this one in half because I will make one of those, 2 more of those storage containers that I did the other day. I mean, I might actually do a little tutorial on them because, I was asked by a few ladies how I managed to get my lines straight and things like that. So yeah, I'll probably do that one for you. If you need to do a folio, which is what some of them start off with, this sort of thing, like a file background, then you add your envelopes in like a little gusset type thing, so you can put a little extra fold, and then you've got a bit of a gusset then, so you've got a bit of room to stuff some envelopes in or some pages. Obviously you cut this off, but I will make a folio for you, just the basics, just to let you know what's going on. I know the majority of you out there, you know what it's all about, but there's a few guys I know who've come on board and they want to start doing stuff, and I thought, well, I'll show you the basic way you can get cracking tonight if you want to. You haven't got to have all this stuff, all these scrapbook pages and downloads and digital images and fancy pictures. I mean, as you can see, these are book pages. So any old books, tear them down, get the spine off, tear the pages out, and they're ideal. They're ideal for storing like this, rather than have the whole book hanging about. And they're always handy to work on as well. If you're using a bit of ink or a bit of glue, if you've got a bit of book page down, it saves you wrecking your cupboards or your worktops, whatever you're using. I mean, these are just book page. Obviously I've put a bit of ribbon and trim on these. This is a bit of doily, you know, a bit of what they call coaster doilies, a bit of lace on there. I've obviously got things like this from my scrapbooking days, you know. I've even done a tag, and then I've put a little tag in there. But these sort of things you can use to record your memories, put your thoughts down, inspirational quotes. You could write some little cute quotes on there, and then you could put this in a little journal for a loved one. That's what it's all about. You could even make yourself up a memory book of a loved one, or school projects for your kids from their time in nursery and infant school. Use all your get all their stuff out the cupboard. I mean, if the pictures are too big, you can put them in a little fold them down, put them in a little envelope in the journal. So you haven't got to think, well, my kids' stuff is no way going to fit in this. But it would if it was folded and put in one of these big envelope slot things. Same with your personal your ephemera. If you're going to use newspaper cuttings and things like that, that's what you do. You'd fold them up, or you'd put them in a little envelope. So yeah, you can make little tuck spots like this, look, with these sort of things. Easy to make. All you need is a bit of glue, some scissors and some book page, and you could make these tonight. You've cut some images out of a magazine. That's all you've got to do. You're bound to have books knocking about. Old gardening books, old magazines, anything like this. The older the better. I mean, things like this, like the memorabilia type things, like this is to do with hotels in Colwyn Bay. You could tear that page out and you could put that in a journal with a bus ticket and a stub from a gig or somewhere you've been. You could have been to the theatre or something like that, or even on holiday with a loved one, you know, and then photograph of the loved one by it, or the caravan where you stayed, or the beach, or whatever. That's, you know, that's what you do. You incorporate it in with your memories and your bits and bobs, your own stuff. Anything like this. I mean, these sort of things are full of advertisements, which is great. I like the advertisements. I mean, I do like stuff like this anyway, generally. But yeah, these books, pick them up for £1 here and there. Sometimes they give them away, or you can have a bunch of them for a couple of quid from the charity shops. The other thing you could use is pull out your old encyclopedias. How many of you have got encyclopedias that you don't really want anymore? You've got to get rid of them. The recycling bin won't take them, you know. So what you do is you tear them all down, and then you can use the images, you know, depending on what sort of themes you're working on. It's basically a way of recollecting your memories, and you're putting them in a scrapbook, which is what we used to do in the old days, you know, when we was kids. And I did scrapbooking, of course. So it's great, and it's a great way of doing something instead of sitting around doing nothing. You can use music sheets. Music sheets are great because they're big, so you've got plenty to work with as your base. You could stick that on the card, and that would be your background paper. You haven't got to have pretty papers, you know. And then on the front of that, you'd add your other bits and bobs, your little envelopes or your little tuck spots like this, you know, on your corner, like that. And then you'd put your tags in. you could make your tags from something like that, or an atlas, anything like that you can use. I mean, I did my first Masterboard scrapbook. I was asked, what's this Masterboard thing? Basically, it's like the background, so it's like the masterpiece, the master sheet, if you want to call it that, to work from. So you could pull that sheet out. I mean, some of this is just like wallpapery type stuff, you can see, mixed with a bit of everything. There's all sorts in there. This is old book. That's an old piece of paper. That's old old scrapbooking page. There's all sorts that you can use. You haven't got to have all this sort of fancy paper. You know, you can use other stuff. I mean, you could even do a scrappy one. I've got a scrappy one here where I've used all the bits and pieces, torn. Let's see if I can find it. Torn up pieces. Look at that. That's just torn up bits of paper. You could do that with anything out of a magazine. There is a trick as well. I'm going to do it with this. You put acetone over it with a cotton wool ball, and it takes all the colour out, but it leaves a background colour. So if it's a similar sort of colouring, you know, I'd have a background of sort of beiges, mixed beiges there, and that's a sheet of paper to use in an album. Same here. These are just cheap scrapbook pads from the Works, which is like our Poundland type shop home bargains thing. I mean, I've got a pad here that I used to make a little folio here. Look, this is something I'm working on. I got bored today, so I pulled out a couple of these sheets. This was only £1.49, I think, and I thought, oh, I'll cut this up, because I got all them. I thought they'd be nice images to cut out, but they are quite stiff images. They're, you know, they're quite hard cardstock. So I've cut all the pieces out. I'll make a little fold out thing. Just something to play, just something to do, really. I mean, I haven't finished it, of course. I'll work on it. I'll work on it a bit later, and I'll come back to you when I've done it, and I'll add some little tags and things. You know, it's a bit spring-like as well. I thought, yeah, summery, that is spring, summery sort of looking things. And it was sunny today, so I thought, oh, I'll do that. The other thing, obviously, I did my own scrapbook sort of starter scrapbook sheet here, and the reason why this is different from the other Masterboard collage book is because it's got the tags ready to cut and mount onto the card, and these are like your little corner spots, the pockets. So I'll use these in a stack of envelopes, and you'll see how it'll all come together. Because I know a lot of you out there know all this, you know, but some of you don't. So I thought, well, I'll come back and come to you and just sort of give you a sort of a heads up, really, on how it all works. Glues, you'll need some Prit or some PVA. You know, I've got all these different ones here. Obviously, they're different versions of certain glues. That's a tacky one. That one's for fabrics, and then this one does fabrics as well. Similar sort of thing. But if you haven't got these, and you haven't got Prit, you haven't got PVA, you can always go back to old style. And we was kids and we had no glue, and we wanted to do some cutting and sticking, we used flour and water. So you can always do that if you have to. You'll need some good scissors. If you want to do some good folds, a bone folder is a good idea. If you haven't got a bone folder, use an old credit card or an old store card. You know, you can smooth that down there and get a good crease. You can use the end of your scissors, but being rounded, it sometimes creases, so you're better off with like something with a straight edge. These sort of things you can buy cheap as chips. but you haven't got to have them. If you want to put a little finger, what do you call it? I can't think of the word. Finger hole, you know, to pull out your tag. Instead of using that, use a pound coin, draw around it, cut it out, job done. You haven't got to have all these things. But once you get into it, just start getting yourself a little collection together. You know, I mean, the people I'm talking to who are asking me about this specifically, I know they're not crafters. You know, they haven't got these sort of things, but then a few of you might have, because you know you've got your grandchildren and stuff like that, and your own kids. Yeah, so that's it. So if you want to get cracking, all you've got to do tonight is get yourselves in your cupboards, pull out some old encyclopedia pages or an old book, get folding and get playing. A bit like when we was kids and we used to make paper airplanes, same sort of thing. Obviously be aware of what you're using. You know, this is a bit flimsy, so if you want to make something a bit sturdier, just join two pages together. That's what I do. Get your mini scissors, get a magazine, cut out some images out of magazines, some of your favourite things, and then just stick away. I mean, this flower here, I think this was from a gardening book, I think, or off a card. I think it was off a card. And somebody bought me a big card, and I thought, oh yeah, or card that I'd bought, I can't remember. And I just stuck them on there, and they look nice on there. You know, it's supposed to be like pressed flowers. You know, that's what it's supposed to represent for my gardening journal. But yeah, that's what it's all about, guys. Well, anyhow, I shall come back to you with, I'll do a little mini show and tell how to do the flappy thing for you guys that don't really know what it's all about. And then I'll do it in one video, and then I'll decorate it in another video. So hopefully you can take something away, and basically you're going to make, like I said, little scrapbook of memories type thing. But that's what the journals are all about, and the folios, journals, whatever you want to call them. It's just scrapbooking, or just a different way of doing it. So anyway, take care and stay safe, and I shall come back to you another day. Bye guys.